Recording. We're live.
Excellent.
Jorge, you can hear us okay still?
I most certainly can.
Wonderful.
Ba-ba-ba.
I can
Well,
hear the spreadable butter
well,
that
thankfully.
is your voice.
Tone your voice.
What does it say? Poopies.
Boopies. Okay, I'll start it out. Welcome back to Milkhouse, episode 5.
Yeah.
Woo!
We're doing it. We're
This
doing
is so
it, Peter.
exciting. Yes.
Yes. And today's topic is our favorite childhood stories. So, a nostalgic trip down memory lane. I thought that would be a good topic.
Mhm.
I'm excited to hear everyone's stories today.
Me too.
Oh yeah, me too. So
Yes,
yeah,
I'm
baby.
especially excited to hear yours.
Oh, mine? I don't know. I don't know. We'll find out. You guys might have better stories than I do. You never know.
Time will tell in just a few minutes. How's everybody doing? Jorge, how you doing, man?
Well, I'm all right. Just, back pain.
Back pain, chronic male back pain.
I would definitely say that it's definitely like chronic because I mean it's pretty constant, but
So it means it's never ending, right?
yep, I'm just
Yeah.
managing it, but
Like taxes and death.
yeah.
Never ending.
Sorry, I didn't mean to bring politics or economics into this. But
No, it's funny you say that because yesterday, my oldest daughter and I went to Target
yeah.
and the grocery store. We had to stop into Target, and she rang up the items, and she's like, "Wait a second, how come that costs?" I said, "Because it's tax." And she said, "What's tax?" And I was like,
You're
There you
gonna
go.
figure it out soon.
"That's
Yeah.
right."
Oh man, she'll figure it out once she actually has her first job.
It is a Hertz donut.
Yep.
Hertz donut.
I get it.
Good one. That was a dad joke for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. Well, he's
Yes,
a dad. So.
that's
Yeah,
true.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
good at them, which
Yeah.
you know, I mean, sometimes I say pretty bad ones and no one laughs. So I'm pretty sure if you don't laugh, it's a really good dad joke. Is that right?
And Dad, how are you today?
Terrific, obviously, just wonderful. Happy to be here.
Great. Steph?
Doing well.
Excellent.
Yeah. You?
Not bad.
Good.
Not bad at all.
Are you better than the last time we met?
Yeah,
That's
a
good.
little bit.
And then Jorge took on your pain,
Yeah,
just
pretty
in a
much.
different way.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I took on his pain.
He did.
Such a good friend.
Oh yes. Okay, should we warm up with the game of
stiletto shoes.
Nigel game?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
2 questions today.
All right, nice.
Not related.
I was about to ask.
Okay. No, they're not. 1, the answer will just be a number. So get your thinking caps on. Okay. Actually, that
Alright.
was a lie. Both will be a numbers game.
Numbers. So do I need to put my hat on? Or
no,
I can only count to
the
10.
answer will be a number. Well, then for 1, you should be okay.
Is it sad? I'm
Good.
already confused.
No,
so.
it's fine. Don't worry about it.
That's normal.
What was the age Doogie Howser was when he became the youngest licensed doctor in the country?
9.
Oh, nope.
12.
No.
14.
Correct.
That's total guess. I had
Are you
no
serious?
idea.
But that was
Did
good
not
guess.
know.
Nice.
All
Did you
right.
watch that show?
No, I did not.
Do you know what
I
it's
just
about?
said it was a lucky guess.
was Neil
I know that.
Patrick
Doogie
Harris.
Howser is what's his name?
NPH.
Yeah, Neil
Yeah,
Patrick Harris.
Neil
That
Patrick
guy.
Harris.
Oh, good job. All right.
Yeah, thank
He's a
you.
Ravenclaw after all.
Yeah, no, just lucky. I'm playing lottery tonight, guys. We go on bed.
Well, let's see how you do the second question
Yeah.
and then maybe play.
Yeah, probably not.
Okay. The second question. How much were you charged if you were 5 days late to return a VHS tape to Blockbuster Video?
Day's video, I know this. It was the same amount it was for the rental every day, like $2 a day.
I think it was $5.
It was $5. It was $1
Yeah,
a
it
day.
was pretty steep.
Another reason
Yeah.
why Day's video is still around, because $5 a day is ridiculous. Well,
No, it's $1 a day. If you were 5 days
Oh.
late.
that's better than, man.
Yes.
I wasn't listening. Story of my life. Sorry.
Good job, both of you.
All right.
So the interesting thing about that is we had completely forgotten that we had rented a movie from Blockbuster, and It was Racing Stripes. It was that movie with where Frankie Muniz lent his voice to a zebra. I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys remember that movie.
That's a perfect movie to
What was it
lose.
called?
Racing Stripes.
What
So
was
we
that
had
movie?
rented that, and then like we were like, man, we better return this because it's already so late. It's been like a month. And
Oh.
then like Blockbuster ended up going out of business. So we're like, never mind.
So you got Frankie Muniz in
Racing
your
Stripes.
Yeah, do you still have that movie?
archives.
Do you still
Do
have
what?
it? Do you still have it?
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's with my parents. I don't have it on me, but I'm pretty sure it's at my parents' house or
I'm
something.
pretty sure there's still a V8 VCR, you know, somewhere in my parents' attic somewhere just waiting to be unstood.
There
For
is
sure.
right here the copy of Free Willy on VHS. That's
Free
from Blockbuster.
Willy.
Has a
Ooh,
Blockbuster sticker on it. Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
You guys did the
You
same
can
thing
take
he
a
did.
picture of it and post it.
Oh, yes,
It's
I will.
nostalgic
I mean,
to the core.
You know,
It is,
it's kind
for
of
sure.
brings me to another point. Whenever video stores are going out of business, you wanted to be like the first ones to get there to be like, oh, what can we get? Because you know, if you were like day 2 or day 3, your
not
hopes
getting
were
anything.
shattered.
Yes.
It's
You
true.
know, you're just not going to get anything.
Yep.
And that's why you just don't return them like Jorge did.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We
I
get-
saved a lot of money.
You know, that's a timing thing because you know he's like, oh, 30. He had no idea they're going to close in 30 days. This guy got lucky.
Well, hang on. They
Hey.
You
didn't
should have
have
played the lottery.
They didn't have a tab though.
They had a
So
computer
they
system.
didn't have his card on file, so
That's
he
true.
just never had to go back and he would get the movie.
Yeah, because you had to have like an account. So I'm like,
You
we
had to
have
have an account, but I mean, I don't think they would send you a bill. Maybe they would.
Yeah, maybe they would.
Oh, you just put
They
your neighbor. You
didn't.
just put your neighbor's name down and everything else. I don't
That's
remember
funny.
Racing Stripes. What kind of you know? You never
That's a
know.
good one.
Very good.
You can't do that now. So
No, not anymore.
no.
There's a large paper trail.
Or go to where did you say Alaska or no? It
Mhm.
was Seattle or something. Portland or Oregon
Are you
had
talking
the last
about Bend, Oregon?
the last block. The last
Yeah,
block
that's
was
Bend, Oregon.
Bend,
Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Oregon. Does anyone have any corrections?
Yeah.
Go for it.
I actually said the Euphrates River in Africa. It wasn't. It was in. I said it several times, but when I said the Euphrates River,
It's not a big deal.
yeah, well,
It's just a river.
it's
Hey,
just a river.
again, that was your opinion.
No,
you
I
said
mean,
you
I
will
meant to say
not
it was in
correct your
Syria,
opinions.
and you know, it was actually up by Iraq. I just misstated exactly where it was.
It's okay.
No, that's fine.
No big deal. Awesome. Okay, so before we begin today's topic, I have been asked to explain what Milkhouse means. So I wrote a little something here. So our title of our podcast is the Milkhouse Podcast. So the Milkhouse was the name of our childhood clubhouse. We used it from about 2000 to 2010. So definitely I was in 7th grade to young adult. The name came from an old shed on my friend's property that had once been used for milking cows. Like literally, it must have been some farm plot or something, but they would take the dairy cows and milk them and take them out. I helped my buddy fix it up by scraping paint and furnishing the interior while he carpeted the walls. That's all we had money for back in the day. All the lawn mowing money and dog walking money and all that stuff. All the furniture from inside came from items we found in dumpsters or received from family members. So it was a modge podge of furniture. There was a large tube TV with just about every
I
game
remember those.
console you could
Yeah.
ever imagine.
Every game console you can imagine.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh man,
We
I'm
all kind
jealous
of put our
already.
stuff in there. It had electricity but no plumbing. So if you had to go to the bathroom, you go outside.
I know how that goes.
That's right.
I got
And
one.
rough it. But some of the best moments of my childhood were spent there. So that is what the Milkhouse is, and that's what this kind of is. We're coming together, we're hanging out, having a good time.
Yeah,
So
I mean, besides, I honestly think we need to adopt the video game part. I don't know why we're not doing that.
You know what? This leads me to share this. So I know that in the future we definitely intend up having our own studio. I think that if we have a studio built, it should absolutely the exterior should be made to look like the Milk
The
House.
Milkhouse.
Yeah, but
Well-
on the
That's fun.
inside, it's like
Oh,
It's
it
like
sounds
really
like the inside
fancy
was killer. Maybe we should dress it up like that as well.
the carpet was probably the lowest grade. I don't
You
think
should
I've
have
ever
shag
seen it at
carpet,
a carpet
honestly.
store.
Shag
It
carpet.
would probably have been insulated better if that were the case, but
But yeah, well, it would have felt about fun. felt better in your feet,
Yeah.
everything like shag carpet, man.
But I mean, my buddy, it was his idea, and we just hung out there all the time. Loved it.
Okay, how big would you say the Milkhouse was?
I'd say it was probably 12 by 12.
Okay.
Yeah. It wasn't
Yeah.
too small, but we would cram a lot of people in there.
Yeah. I'm just
12
thinking
by
with all
12,
that
that's like a
carpet. How
milk
much?
shed.
Milkshake. So
Very
that's
cool.
that's what the
To you as a
Milkhouse is.
kid, though, 12 by 12, your own place, that seems like, yeah, this is cool. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can see that. You can definitely make it your own,
Yeah. I
as a
think my
kid.
buddy slept out there for a while too.
You know what? I was gonna ask that. Did you guys ever like as a group have like an overnight stay or like any
Oh.
sleepovers in the Milkhouse?
All the time.
Oh,
all the
heck
time.
yeah.
And we weren't smart enough to bring blankets or anything, so we'd wake up freezing, tired. Yeah.
And we had a clubhouse my dad built growing up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Nice.
I'll get into that later. I'll tell a story.
Okay.
So my question is, was it in walking distance from you guys?
From
Or
where
was
I
it-
lived, it was probably walking distance, probably a 15-minute walk.
Okay.
So it wasn't bad.
Yeah, 15-minute walk as a kid. Ain't
That's
nothing,
nothing.
bro.
Nothing.
I ride my
Nothing at all.
bike all across town sometimes. Like,
Take your bike. Yeah. It was
yeah,
awesome.
bike ride. Yeah, like, because you got a 5-minute bike ride, that's pretty long distance, because you can travel
Yeah.
30 mile an hour usually on a bike.
Pretty fast.
Well, a lot of hills.
Okay, so should we get into the first story from you, Steph?
Sure.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, this is more of a prank, but it is one that we talk about constantly in our house. I think I shared a couple episodes ago that my oldest sister and the sister right below me, so Christy and Rachel, were incredibly involved with all the musicals and theater growing up in high school. And so one thing that would consist of is they had to be up super early to be at the school by like 6:30, 7 a.m. I'm not an early riser. I hate getting up. We've discussed that. And
Yeah.
my oldest sister and I shared a room.
Mm.
And so she would get up at 5:30 in the morning, turn on all the lights, get her stuff ready, all this, go down, shower, come back up, as if I wasn't there sleeping. And so I finally had enough of it. And in this room, we had 2 closets. One was a walk-in, one was a smaller. They both had lights in them, and then our main light. And so one morning, I heard her alarm go off. She went downstairs, and I jumped up as fast as I could and unscrewed the light bulb from above our bed and both closet lights. So when she came back up, she would not be able to get ready at all. And
That's
so,
diabolical.
but I was so excited I couldn't go back to sleep. So it was like I sabotaged myself anyways.
Yeah.
And she came up and she flipped on the light and she was like, "Oh, what is going on?" And then she went to each of the closet lights. They would not turn off. And you could like hear her stomping her feet, which just delighted me even more. And I don't even know how she made it, but she went back downstairs and then I did sleep for like another probably 30 minutes, almost an hour. So
It was well worth it.
oh my gosh, yeah. And so I did a lot of stuff like that growing up to them, but that's been one of our most favorite and
Does she
pranks.
know you did this now?
She did.
Or she will now.
Yeah, she knows now.
Rabbit's out of the bag now.
Uh-huh.
She did not know it for a while. I think it was like a couple months. And finally something came up and I was like, "Oh yeah, that was me." Like I just so sick and tired of it. So it was not a good time for her, but I think that was probably the sweetest sleep I've ever had, you know? So
How Slytherin of you.
Yeah.
I know, and I
You're
didn't
just
even
sitting
know
there
back
laughing
then.
and giggling. Like,
Oh, I was. And you had to lay so still, you know? Because then she would have known. But yeah.
I just
It's a
would have been
good
like, I would
time.
have woke up and just started laughing. Like,
Yeah.
No.
Like
I
when
would've
No.
told her,
giggling.
yeah.
I think the prank is better if you have to wait a little bit for the
I don't think
reward.
I don't think I have that capability. I ain't gonna lie.
No, it's more
I
fun.
wouldn't have been able to. I'm just saying. It probably would have been more fun.
Yeah.
But I've been like,
So-
I love it.
Thank you.
That's
It was
good.
a good one.
Thanks.
Jorge?
So one of my favorite memories that happened that me and my brothers actually talk about quite often is So whenever we were younger, so we were living in Texas at this point, and the house that we lived in Texas, it was right across the street from this elementary school. We would always go to that elementary school to do, just God knows what. I mean, there was fencing in the back of the school, so like, we would also uh uh trespass because there was a guy's property that was attached to the rear of the elementary school, but it was like a big chunk of land. And so we would sometimes trespass on that property and we'd like wander around and things like that. But one of my favorite things is there was one day where me and my two brothers, my older brother and my little brother, we go over to the elementary school and we have this idea that, hey, maybe it's a good idea to see if we can climb the roof or get to the roof. And so we walked around and we were like trying to look at like access points. And then actually, one of our neighbors at the time, he was over there with a friend of his, and he was a nice kid. And so we saw him just go ahead and hop up on the roof. So we followed in his footsteps, and so we all started like running around on top of the roof of this elementary school. And so then it comes
Give 'em a
down
bedroom.
to the guy. His name was Aaron. So Aaron and his friend, they're like, "Hey, you guys good?" And we're like, "Yeah, we'll be able to jump down, no problem." So then they get down, and then they go home, and then we're like, how do we get down? So we start panicking, like we don't know how to get down. And then we go over to this telephone pole that was like right next to like part of the roof. So like you could hug it, no problem. So I was like, well, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and try to slide down this thing. And
Oh boy.
and so my older brother was like, I'll do it if you do it first. So and I was like, okay. I'll admit I was a little nervous, but like I was like, if I just hug this thing and just go down, I should be fine, which I was. I made it down perfectly fine. Then my
That's
older
gonna
brother
slide and
was
getting splinters.
Yes.
talking to my little brother, and he was like, "Well, so there I'm actually surprised that there was no splinters sticking out of this thing. So it was actually pretty smooth. It was actually a pretty smooth pole, thank God. It had this layer on top of it. The pole had this kind of like dust on it or whatever, so it was just making it easy to slide down. So my older brother looks at my little brother and he's like, "Are you going to be able to slide down this thing?" And he's like, "Yeah, absolutely, I got it." And then so my brother he follows after me. He goes ahead and he slides down. So then we're like, "All right, it's your turn to go." And so he goes up to hug it, and then he's like, "I can't." And we're like, "No, dude, you got it. Like you have to come down." And then he immediately just started crying. Like, I mean, he was
Fight,
just like,
flight,
"I can't
freeze.
do it." And so finally, I remember, like, we were out there for, like, a good 10 minutes, like, trying to get him to come down, and we're like, "Dude, we'll catch you," and, you know and so he was like, "No, I can't do it." And so then finally, after, like, a long time of, like, trying to convince him to come down this telephone pole, he looks at this thing and in frustration, he just goes, "Ah!" Like this like battle cry. And then he finally gets on this thing and he slides down. And I mean, it
Battle
was,
cry.
yeah, it wasn't anything crazy, but like he finally slides down. We're like, thank God, you're fine. And then he's sitting and he was just sitting there and he was like, I'm such a brave kid. But we were getting worried because like the sun, like it was like in the evening, so like we were having to get home. Uh, but we definitely talk about that every like at least every other time we see each other. Those are good old days, man.
I feel like getting on the roof of the elementary school was a classic.
I never did that.
Really?
No. But I
Okay.
will quickly, very quickly, because it made me think of why we're sitting here. We did climb our roof one night at the house, and it was right before camp. So our cousin, she was probably I don't know, 8 years younger than me. But they were up there and they were yelling at some kid just for fun. I don't know. And then they heard sirens, so she thought the cops were coming to get us. And so they were like, "Oh my gosh, we have to rush off the ladder and get down." And I was the last one off, and they heard me say, "Move the ladder." So when I went to climb off the roof, there was no ladder, and I
Oh,
just completely fell off the roof. And then
Oh,
was like,
like
"There's
you stepped,
nothing."
you stepped for it,
I
and
turned around to go down the ladder backwards, and there was no ladder. So when I took a step, it was, no step, just to the ground.
ouch.
And they laughed so hard. We barely made it inside, but the cops were not after us. It was just
No, that
obviously
was always the thing. If you're doing something you weren't supposed
and
to,
the
and you hear the
cops,
sirens,
yeah.
you think it's automatically for you.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And it definitely wasn't.
Paranoia.
It's
Yeah.
for the nursing home, not for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. But I kept thinking, like, why would you move the ladder? Like, why did you hear move the ladder? No, I didn't want to die that night, and I didn't. But yeah, it was so no, never an elementary roof, but
The house
the house. Yeah.
equally as dangerous.
It's clearly. But I was very brave about it as well. So
Good.
yeah.
yeah.
We loved
Yeah.
getting onto.
Yeah.
We loved getting into like
Yeah.
areas where it was like high, or roof. We loved, climbing things and getting as high as we
Oh,
possibly
yeah.
could.
Absolutely.
I couldn't tell you anything I didn't climb. Like, I get locked out of my house, and there's times I climb with my sisters. Like, I climb up the fence onto the onto the like a patio, then onto the other roof, and I get up to my sister's bedroom, and I get on there and just get inside because we lock ourselves out sometimes. Or
Sure.
so, definitely a monkey.
Have you tried monkey bars as an adult? Ouch.
Oh yeah, they're still fall off.
Oh, my kid's like, "Do it, Dad," and I'm like, "Oh, I'll do it." And then I
That's-
think my shoulder pops and my
Yeah,
hands
see,
hurt.
I'm a little bit lighter, so I guess so it's not as bad for me.
I'm not built for that anymore.
It's horrible.
Yes. Okay.
I'm not calling you fat. I'm just saying, I'm just
Hey.
lighter.
I can't do it.
Sure, Kyle. Sure.
Yeah, Kyle, come on.
on.
One of my memories has to do with getting hurt too. But back in the day, a lot of the kids in the neighborhood, we used to play something called night games.
Mhm.
Yeah, we used to call it ditch 'em.
Ditch 'em.
Yes.
So all the neighborhood kids would get together. I mean, sometimes up to 30 people.
Well, we
it
didn't.
was-
Yeah,
it was
we
fun.
maybe
Cool.
15 or so. I never had 30, but 15 was pretty good. I mean,
Our town had a good, I don't know, they just had those streets that just had a lot of kids. And we would get together and at a certain time that we'd meet somewhere, and then we decide what game we're going to play. So we decided we're going to play hide and go seek. And this just happened to be on a different side of town. And somebody was it. And so I'm all excited, like, oh, I'm going to go, I'm going to get a good hiding place.
yeah.
And I sprint to go find that place. And I sprint right into a clothesline. And while it snaps on my neck, I simultaneously get flipped back, kind of like
No
in
way.
WWE.
I wouldn't
Getting
imagine that to
close
be
and
the case.
just like smacked on my back, like. And I remember thinking, like, my throat is open, and my buddy who I was running with, he didn't notice. I did see the clothesline dangling down. I just pulled it together and hid while I was like kept feeling my neck, looking for blood.
Decapitated, right?
Yeah, it hurt,
I imagine, yeah.
but I don't think I was found.
Yeah.
That's the
I think you
important
found a
part.
few things there.
So, and I never told the homeowner that I damaged your clothesline, but clotheslines aren't really a thing anymore either.
I don't know. Everyone's
Well,
like
not
that.
as much.
Well, it's because everyone still steal your clothes, stick them out on the side of the thing,
Because the kid will break them.
I moved in my house. The guy's like, I found out the guy behind me like stealing clothes off clothes on. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Well, good thing I ain't got one, but who does that?
Oh
I mean,
gosh, yeah. Seriously, who does that?
So was this game something that you and your neighborhood had kind of like made up?
Hide and go seek?
No, because you said that you were playing you said that you had played a game.
Oh
It was like a night.
We would just get together. We'd say, okay, everybody meet at so and so's house at 8.
Oh, because I could have sworn you had like I know it was like kind of like I know that you had said that it was hide and go seek, but I thought that you had called it something else before that.
Oh no, that was just hide and go seek. But
yeah,
Oh.
where I came from, hide and go seek at nighttime was called ditch 'em.
ditch them.
Yeah. I think that's what I. Okay, maybe it was Kyle that I
Yeah,
heard.
that
Did you
was
guys have similar night games?
yeah. Well,
I mean, you obviously did.
basically, our night games was like that or hide from the cops. You know, because around nighttime, maybe you get lucky. Parents let you stay outside, so you get the curfew. But like, oh yeah,
Oh
we're
yeah,
gonna go around the
curfew.
neighborhood. We're gonna dark as close as we can. We'll go to the park, and if we see a cop, we're gonna hide whatever we can. And if we see him, we gonna run home
Mhm.
like chicken with their head cut off. And that was just like
Yeah.
fun, getting out. Like I wouldn't even necessarily say that was a game. It was
It's just something you did.
just fun. Like you pressing your limits. Like, oh, I'm supposed to be a better 11. Yeah, says you.
We'll see about that.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
Did you have one, Stephanie?
Oh, like a game? No, not
Yeah.
unless we were in Indiana with family, and then we have a game. We go out in the woods, whistle tag,
We used to
and so we
call
Oh,
go out
yeah.
at night. We play
Yeah.
that here,
we
but
used to call that
we did not have games like that. The one thing we did do as teens, though, is on a Friday night, we called it cruising, and we would all meet up
Yes.
at the
Yes.
courthouse, and then you just drove
Yeah,
around.
you just drove around.
It
Yeah.
was the most ridiculous thing.
Well, we had okay, so there was one we played in the cornfield, and that was more in like Boy Scouts. We played Sentry. It was like you'd be in the corn, and you had to sneak up past like your sentries right there,
Yeah.
and you had to be able to get past them in order to win. So it was more like it's kind of cool. That was a lot of
Mhm.
fun because it's out in the country, it's
I did
cornfield,
not.
and
No, I did
yeah. But
not do
of
that.
course, like I said, it really only happened in the country in Boy Scouts because that's really the only time
I mean,
we had enough.
I grew up in a country town. That's
Right.
pretty much all we had. But it's where we lived.
Well, you have to have
There's
enough
7 of
people
us.
too for it to make
Yeah.
it fun. You have
Yeah.
because if you have
Yeah.
like 3 guys out there, you're gonna have more people around, and you got several hundred yards to where you can go.
We were just kind of surrounded by older people that
Mhm.
had lived there when my dad was growing up. So there wasn't a ton of kids, but so in high school cruising was a thing. But when we came to Indiana, we had
Repressed
like the whistle
memory.
tag, all that. And if we were at camp, we did our best to sneak out. So,
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
but
So the game that me and my siblings had growing up, it was primarily played inside. I don't think that we ever went outside to play it, but inside at night we would play this game called Bears in the Night, which was essentially hide and go seek, except obviously since it's in the dark, you just have to pretty much blend in with your surroundings. But I'm telling you this right now, I hated being it because we would scare each other. Like
oh yeah.
like
Yeah.
I wanted to be the person hiding. I did not want to go digging into like dark corners of the house to try to find my siblings. It was fun. I would love to play these games as an adult. Wonder how much
Yeah.
fun we would
I think
have.
we need some liquor though, I'm not gonna lie.
Did you guys ever do like a haunted house in your house?
Yes.
Anybody ever do that?
Yes.
We would use the Prince of Egypt soundtrack
Oh
for the creepy music. And
my
we would put like
gosh.
blood or like ketchup on the stairs for the blood, which is wild because we are all scaredy cats. Like I can't do it. And I think it started from there. But we'd like put up blankets and
Repressed
dim the
memories
lights.
unlocked.
Prince of
Yeah.
Egypt
Yeah.
was playing. Yeah. It was a good
Oh, that's
time.
good.
Yeah.
I
I
love that.
remember not doing any of that. That's good though.
Yeah.
Kyle, you're up, man. I want to hear it.
Oh, okay.
We're
So
ready.
let me think here. So I'll start with one. Since this is actually kind of a short one, it's not too bad. But since you had a clubhouse, you had a milk house, right? Well,
Mhm.
growing up, me and my dad. Well, my dad, he's always been good with this. He built everything. I mean, he can build anything he wanted if give him enough time. So ended up building the clubhouse, and it was probably about 12 foot suspended in the air. Um, it was overlooked a fence. That's 12 foot to the bottom, so it was probably you're standing upward about 16 foot higher. So pretty nice. And it overlooked this fence, and there was an alley. Of course, I had houses behind me, to the right, all around me, basically. Well, I had several friends, but I had my friend at that time that I was playing out with. His name was Cody. So a lot of times, me and Cody would just ride around, and we just we play in the clubhouse. We had that. We'd stand up there, and we just like sometimes we had to go use the restroom, like you said, we had to go outside.
That's right.
Well, we just mailed broad daylight, don't matter. One of the games we played was who could pee over the fence longer, okay? So, and mind you, this was actually a pretty fun game, and your bladders had to be in synchronous, okay? So, all right, so one day we're just like sitting out there, it's probably 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't tell him time. So we're like, man, I got pee. He's like, man, I got pee too. So like I think we've been up to D's and we got some Tootsie Rolls. And we step outside of the clubhouse, and of course, we're standing upstairs, and we're both of us are oblivious to what's going on around us. And we're like, "Hey, man, I bet you I can pee farther than you can." I was like, "I bet you can't." And the problem was the first person to pee on this side of the fence lost. All right, so if you had to make it over the fence, and as soon as you started coming under the fence, you were done. All right, you're gone. It's all right. So I tell you what. So we're going, and then I have a good flow going. I have no problem. It's just, and I think I'm gonna win this. All right, no problem. And next thing I know, I hear my dad. He's like, "Boys, what are you doing?" And I'm just like, well, next thing you know, we both lost because I don't even know who's stopping us. We just hosed it off right there, turned around, we ran around and just and just got tail chase out of there. Like, and my dad just thought it was hilarious as heck. And
I'm sure.
Yeah, he was just laughing, you know what I'm saying? But like, we were just scared to take, I'm sorry, I can't use the words I want to use right now. It's kind of hard. But man,
That's
I tell you,
funny.
it was funny. We were just hosing it down. And yeah, I don't think we ever did that again, but it was definitely pretty funny. My dad coming out there and catching us, and like, it made me wonder. I wonder how many neighbors. Just
I'm sure
just,
a majority of them saw, and they just they're kids
for sure.
Dude, because I had my neighbor right behind us, and like he had windows, like plenty of them.
No one can see us. And like,
yeah,
I can totally
I don't think we cared about that. We just cared about winning. I want to win. I don't care. Couldn't play with a girl or anything, you can only play with your friend. I had a sister, so, but it was funny. So
love it.
Yeah.
Back around, Steph.
All right. I just want to go ahead and say, I know my mom listens to this podcast.
Sorry, Mom.
No, I just wanted to go ahead and say.
Preface it with, okay.
My bad. It was intentional, and I'm sorry. So, when my sister and I were, I think, juniors and seniors in high school, we had stayed out longer on prom night and missed our curfew by many hours. It was probably 4 or 5 in the morning.
Whoa.
And when we got home, our mom was up waiting for us. But she was not happy. Which I don't know why, but it made me even more mad. The worst part was it was also Mother's Day that Sunday.
Oh.
So she was ticked at us. Didn't want to talk, didn't want to do anything. And I decided the best thing I could possibly do was to go ahead and pull a prank on her. And so, I don't know, it was early. Before I went into bed, I took a rubber band and tied it around the handle of the sprayer.
On the sink.
Knowing that she would get to it. And so the next morning she went to get water from her coffee, and as soon as she turned on the sink, it went whoosh, right in her face. And all you heard from down the hallway was just her yelling at me. And I came out, I was like, what?
I was at prom.
It wasn't me. And she was so mad. She knew it wasn't. I was like, no. I mean, I did it, but it was just a prank. I was trying to get Dad. And she's like, at what point have you ever seen your dad get water from this fountain or this sink? And I was like, it wasn't me.
Dad don't drink water. Just pure beer.
No, tea would be it. But yeah, he never got water from the sink at all, which I don't think we had the well water, but it just wasn't good water at all. But I knew she would use it. So I just want to say, for years I've been saying it wasn't personal towards my mom.
But it totally was.
Sorry,
Mom.
I'm so sorry. It's the truth. I think we're better now. I think we're good. And
you dirty little liar.
I don't know why. We knew. Yeah, it was
our
bad.
You just couldn't admit to. Like, Mama just could not tell you that I was the one that sprayed you with water.
I was gonna get in more trouble, and obviously
you definitely are now.
Yeah,
I can see it. 30 years later,
she'll probably laugh about it now. I'm sure, right?
No, you're grounded. I'm sure.
It's fine.
I actually remember doing that, and I was so excited that I would get somebody, and then I went to use this because it had been some amount of time.
Did you prank yourself?
I sprayed myself.
Hey, I have such a crappy enough handle. I do that to myself. I don't even use it. I've been meaning to replace. I got the wrong size hose. Like, you know what? That's one thing I meant to do a while ago, and I got the wrong size hose. I put the last one back on there that I had, and totally forgot about it since.
See?
Repressed memory unlocked.
Repressed, unlocked.
Oh, that was a good one.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. I just also want to say I've said a lot of things that I've done to my family, and that's true. But you know those signs that said if mama ain't happy, no one's happy?
Mhm.
Well, for a long time we just changed that and it said if Stephanie's not happy, no one's happy. And that's kind of how I live my life, making everyone miserable.
Man,
Yeah.
demon child.
I do love Jesus now, and I think that makes a difference. So
She's like,
True.
now. The key word is now.
Now.
yeah.
We should get a sign like that for you in here. I'll be
See,
honest though.
Listen,
we
I'm
haven't
Good.
Go ahead.
No, I'm saying
You go ahead.
since last episode, I'm picking up on these key words. You know, she said North Pole.
Take notes.
She said now. See, I got
I
these.
heard.
All right.
You're
Now go
there.
ahead. Sorry.
I think we haven't made you mad enough yet, but I know we will.
No.
And I don't want Steph
Yeah.
mad at us.
I wouldn't
or
either.
do we?
I don't
No.
know.
You see now she acts. I mean,
Nothing is
and she
off
has
limits.
Jesus now. What if she loses
It's
one
more it's more righteous.
I lost you for 5 minutes. I'll come back.
Just close your eyes, Jesus. Don't worry about this. Yeah.
Don't go into Stephanie's room. She's not happy.
Yeah, she's yeah.
Hello?
It's-
Oh,
I don't know. It's just
Get out,
the
I'll come
more
back.
of the chaos is just kind of fun, you know?
It's, once
Yeah.
again,
Do you not know?
so Slytherin.
She's a snake.
Yeah.
She just wants to watch the world burn.
Some days I do.
Yeah.
So again, I'm a little bit better, but again, there's
Well,
7 kids.
Yeah.
You have to
Pleasant
do
be
something
around.
to stand out,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah, you got to prank them all.
Yeah.
That way they all know who you are. Leave your
Mhm.
name.
Exactly.
Carve your name in their underwear.
So, wait, Kyle, how many? Because I know James, you have one other sibling, but Kyle, did you grow up with a big family, or was it a small family?
Well, I have a big overall family, but no, I just actually have one sibling, which is a sister, and she's a year and 15 days older than me. And you know, she's a Wolverine. Don't let her lie
Okay.
and fool you.
So I do kind of feel like with Stephanie growing up with 7 kids in the household, and then with me being one of 6 kids, I kind of feel like bigger families were. Uh, I mean, in my opinion, it was pretty chaotic.
Yeah,
That's-
I can imagine.
It's normal.
Yeah. But it's a fun. I look back now and we usually come together at Thanksgiving and we're all there and
Yeah.
it's so much fun. It's less chaotic among ourselves. Like I'm not pranking
Mhm.
them, but yeah, it's just chaos with a big family like that.
Listen,
But
I have 2 kids, and I don't commend anyone that's been like, "Oh, hey, you got 6. You're 3 times the person I am right now."
Yeah, that would
And
be.
I'm not
a
gonna
lot.
lie, I mean, because I couldn't do it by myself.
Yeah, that would be
Crazy.
tough. Jorge, want to give us your next story?
So, um,
Why you sighing?
I'm
man?
gonna preface this by saying that because I do feel like it's very important that I say this. Obviously, like I had just established, growing up with 5 other siblings was pretty chaotic. So I'm sure you could only imagine what that would be like for my parents having to deal with 6 kids. Um,
Mhm.
so I'm sure that anybody who is anyone can absolutely agree that sometimes parents can make extremely flawed decisions, and we are all flawed people. But I I want to preface this by saying I love my dad, and I think that he did the
Love you,
best that
Dada.
he could to raise us and discipline us growing up. I just don't think that this was one of those times I agreed with how he did it, but I know he loved me growing up. So, anyway, we were still living in Texas. My older brother was in like maybe 5th or 6th grade, something like that. He got really bad grades on his report card. Um,
Oh, no.
so what happens is my dad comes home, he goes into the bathroom. I don't know who is the one that initially found it. I think it was my dad. But my dad just sees this piece of paper that's been burned in the trash can, and he sees my older brother's report card, that in the trash can. So he goes to my brother, "Did you do this?" "No." And so then he's like, "Really? Then who would?" He's like, "I don't know. I don't know who would do that." So my dad immediately goes to me and my little brother. And me and my little brother, so he's like, "Did you guys do this?" And we're like, "No." Because even in my mind at the time, I'm thinking like, why would we burn his report card? And so my dad said, "Okay, all three of you in my room." So
Oh boy.
he ends up so he ends up telling us, "If none of you fess up as to who did it, you're all getting spanked." And so me and my little brother like begging, and we're like, "Dad, we're not the ones that did it. We didn't do it, we promise you." And so my older brother is still playing stupid, and he's just like, "Yeah, I don't know who did that." And
Who would do
so
that?
So yeah, my dad grabbed the belt and he told us, he said, "Well, each of you are gonna get one. Each of you are gonna get one until you fess up." And so um, then he spanks my older brother, spanks me, spanks my little brother. And so then he said, "Okay, well, this is the second round, so you guys are gonna get two now." My older brother still did not fess up.
Oh man.
Man,
Still didn't fess up.
should have been a
So
CIA
Yeah.
operative.
me So me being the dumb kid that I was, I went ahead because I didn't want to get spanked anymore. So I was just like, okay, it was me. And so I remember my older brother looking at me with like shock in his eyes, and it was clearly shock because he knew he's the one that freaking did it,
Yeah,
not
right?
me. So so
He's
then
getting a little
I
bit guilty hearing the
remembered
story right now. Hope
what's
so,
up.
bro.
So yeah, so it was one of those things where my older brother, I ended up being punished for it and everything. But then like a few months later, my brother went to my dad and he was like, "Hey, it was me. I'm the one that burnt the report card."
You had to go to the gulag for him.
Yeah, I had to go to the gulag.
Well, he could figure it out though, because he noticed that one of his kids didn't have a report card.
Yeah, I'm gonna burn his report card
I
because
think
I
he
have
was probably
like
teaching you a lesson like, okay, who's gonna fess up first?
Right. And well, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I think that this was a huge lapse in judgment on my dad's part at this time. I mean, don't get me wrong, like my dad absolutely did the best he could. I know that he loved us. He definitely was not abusive by any means. I mean, I know that some people would think like, well, spanking is already questionable, whatever. But my dad absolutely did the best he could, and I guess like it's already pretty challenging just having one child. And, me and my wife are definitely going to want to have more. We're not going to just want to have our current son, but I cannot imagine what it would be like to raise six kids. And so I feel like I think that even though his reasoning might have been flawed to me at the time, and I would still probably say it still was, but it's like I don't know what that's like to have six kids. And I know that he immediately went to me and my little brother because we were all up to no good. We were doing things that, I mean, we did.
y'all lying.
Yeah, we did crazy things for like absolutely no reason. Like I would lie for no reason. I would make up
Right?
stories and like make people believe like
All right,
the
let that
dumbest
sin
stuff.
nature come through naturally.
Well, that's what it comes down to. When you gotta be a parent, you're gonna come down, I gotta be play a detective, and you're trying to play it fair, but you're also trying to teach a lesson of
Yeah.
tell the truth. And
Yeah.
really, as a kid, when you lie, you put yourself in that position when no one believes you. That's why that whole story of kid cries wolf, you
Yeah.
know, it is. I
Yep.
feel you.
Spare the
So
rod, spoil the
I
child.
mean,
yeah. So my older brother has repeatedly, even in our adult life, he has repeatedly apologized for that because like that has haunted him. Would
well, I
haunt
just
me
never been
too.
brief anyway, so I didn't really mean what I said. Just I had to throw some extra on there, make sure. Yeah, trap boy.
Oh yeah.
So that is a funny. So that's something that we definitely laugh about today, just because even though at the time it definitely was not funny, I think that the guilt that he will have even now in his 30s, just seeing him like just do the whole like, oh man, I'm sorry about that, dude. Like,
Hey,
like
listen,
I appreciate it.
I
It's
wouldn't
funny.
be the man I am today without the butt whoopings I took. Let me tell you, it builds character. That's why I got plenty of it and plenty to give away. Just,
Kyle, we can tell.
Yeah. I needed it. I ain't gonna lie. Then I didn't agree with it. Now I'm like, yeah, it is probably justified.
Justified.
Hey, if it helps, I mean, we obviously went through that too. And I know one time one of my sisters got in trouble for something. And it was one of the same situations, like no one was owning up to it. And dad was like, okay, well, then line up. And then he got to one of the girls and they had nothing to do with it. And he's like, well, you'll probably do something soon. And it was the same type of thing, like not a bad guy in the slightest bit, but when you have
Right.
that many kids,
You got to
and
make a judgment. It's a blanket call.
You're getting in so much trouble
You got to
already.
make an example.
Yeah.
But it's like a blanket call. Everyone, that's why I look at it as it's
I do feel the need to absolutely like put emphasis on this. So like after that incident happened, my dad did not discipline us or punish us in that way ever again because he genuinely felt bad for handling it that way. I think it was just one of those things where he was trying to figure out like what works, and obviously like
well, you're not
that
getting
is
paid.
definitely something you're going to do as a parent, right? You're
Yeah.
going to
Yeah,
try to
but you're
figure
not
out
getting
what works.
paid to investigate.
Odd.
It's very
Right.
frustrating. It's
Yeah. So my dad did not do that ever. He didn't have us like line up ever again and be like, okay, whoever fed, like he did not do that ever again because he genuinely felt bad, which I'm happy about that.
It went around too. So I will go on to my second childhood memory, and this one goes out to all my homies from the OG Milkhouse. They're gonna love this one.
Oh yeah.
This one has some body humor. Okay, so this was in high school. There was probably like 12 of us crammed in there. We just played a bunch of video games or watched somebody play video games, some walkthrough. And we were sitting around deciding what to do. It's kind of late. It's dark outside. And so I won't say his name, but this particular guy, a lot of his humor was physical humor. It's just what he did. I think we all have someone in our group that used to do that. But he just got up and he turned out the lights. And I knew him well enough where I knew he was going to do something with his body. So I initially just slid in between one of the couches and the recliners because I didn't want him to touch me. And so he turned out the lights and he gets like up on a table in the corner. And you could see his silhouette from the light outside. And you see him taking off his clothes. And so everyone's screaming, and for some reason no one's leaving, but we're all screaming and hiding. And so he tries to touch a couple people, and then he turns on the lights and puts his clothes back.
You can't even tell. I'll tell you guys, this is very entertaining. If you can see this in here.
It gets better. But sorry, I gotta gain my composure.
I can tell.
It's funny because he's texting me right now.
Oh shoot.
Oh, it's even better.
If you can visualize
Yes.
it. Okay, so he turns the lights back on and
At least we know who it is now.
yeah. So he grabs a permanent marker, like a black permanent marker. He pulls down his pants and he moons us, and he takes the permanent marker between his thumb and his index and sticks it in his beehole.
Oh my God. That's so bad.
Yeah, it's so bad. And then he pulls his pants up and he's laughing like maniacally, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, the dude that's gonna throw it at somebody. And as he's laughing, he whips his head and flicks it and it just flies across the room like a movie, and it hits the one dude that has like the biggest gag reflex. Hits him right in the cheek, like his left or right cheek, I don't remember, and he just screams. And then he runs out of the Milkhouse, and you hear him outside screaming and crying simultaneously. And he's yelling something like, "I'm gonna get a disease." Meanwhile, the guy who threw it is just laughing, like he's getting the biggest entertainment out of it.
Yeah.
But it's a fond memory because I wasn't the victim.
Yeah.
But
getting saved from the Sharpie marker through the face.
But a lot of physical humor. This guy, he was a great dude, but he just did random stuff like that, unprovoked.
Disease? Probably not. Pink
Not probably
eye?
not.
Absolutely.
You want to wash your face? Yeah, definitely.
I'm getting a shower. So
Yeah.
You want this marker?
Yeah. Hey, don't ask me. I don't know where you got the marker from. It just appeared. The whole thing kind of
we all have an idea.
Hey, smell this marker.
Oh gosh.
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
that's
He's
terrible.
calling me.
I don't know that I've ever seen you laugh that
I haven't
hard.
either. It
Oh jeez.
was the first time for everything, though.
I didn't think I'd be able to get that out.
Yeah, I didn't think you were going to be able to either. Yeah.
But yeah, that was that's a always comes to mind.
The
One of
reactions
the
must have
many
been
hundreds of stories.
spectacular from him doing that
For
to the
sure.
scream and the cry.
Yes.
Must have just been like, you probably were on the ground just in tears rolling that way anyway.
Oh yeah, because it wasn't at my expense, so
Yeah.
I was loving every minute of it.
My goodness.
I mean, there's one time and this isn't a short story, but I laughed that hard was when we went golfing with a friend one time, and he tried hitting a driver off the fairway, wasn't teed up. He swung. First time that ball went straight up, like 3 or 4 inches straight up, straight down. He did that 6 times consecutively. By the
Wow.
4th time, I was on the ground laughing so hard. I dropped my clubs, my feet are up in the air. My cousin was with me. He was on the ground laughing. He still did it 2 more times. I'm just like, there's no possible way. I'm like, no, I mean, no one is that inconsistently consistent, you know? I mean, it was just the most spectacular thing I'd ever seen.
That's good.
It was funny, though.
I could imagine that.
Yeah,
It'd be
it
really
was funny. 6 times, I'm like, oh my God, no way. And then, yeah.
Very good.
Kyle,
My
was that your
doesn't
story,
even do
or
it
do you have
justice.
another one to
No,
share?
that doesn't even do it justice. No. So,
He's got another one.
we got plenty of
I'm
stories.
ready.
Is it my turn? Okay, let me
Yes,
think
sir.
here which one I want to talk about. All right. So we're going to talk about one time whenever I had a few friends at my house. Growing up, I lived in town, and then growing up, I lived out in the country. Actually, about 7th grade, I lived out in the country. So we lived about 5.5 miles from town. I had about 3 friends I usually hung out with, 2 or 3. I know at this time it was me, Chase, Jesse, and Darren. All right, when we've been out at my house, we've been doing wrestling on trampoline all night long. It's probably, I mean, we've been beating the heck out of each other, tired, probably 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and we're all sitting in my bedroom now, just shooting the crap. And Chase is aside, my buddy Chase, and he's my best friend, oldest friend I got, and he's all of a sudden he gets this epiphany where he wants, I think it was Reese Pieces. Oh yeah, that's what it was. Reese Pieces. Sorry, he wanted some Reese Pieces. I didn't happen to have any on hand at that time, unfortunately, for all of us, because he's just like, man, let's go in town. Like, none of us drove at the time. I think we are like 14 years old, you know, just might have been 15, but none of us had a license.
Mhm.
And Darren, they're both, Darren's a pretty big guy too, but Darren was tired. Okay. So Darren did not want to go into town. All right. So Chase kind of got us where he's like, hey, let's go in. But Darren was like, no, we're not going. He didn't want to go. So instead of just walking out the front door, we snuck out my bedroom window, which was stupid. All right. Well, because Chase wanted to go in town, we decided we're going to go walk with him. All right. Well, mind you, it's 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. It might even been later than that. And Darren, when he fell asleep, all right, he ended up having a light on. Nah, no big deal. We thought we'd be back. So we leave, proceed to go in town, and we're just walking town. Like it's a long walk. Every time we see a headlight, we're getting in the cornfield.
Oh yeah.
And Jesse is complaining every time because he's like, it's like, hey, like every time it's not a cop. I'm like, oh, so we're just not supposed to jump in the thing because we see a car going down the road. Like, this is what we did growing up. You know, we seen headlights going down the road.
Mhm.
This is like common nature. Like, we're staying out of trouble, man.
Mhm.
Well, Jesse walks in. Like, there's one time we go around this corner, and I see these headlights coming, like, it's my mom, and we just jump in the side of the cornfield, and he just jumps in this big, huge puddle of water and mud.
Oh.
He was just so mad, and we still had, like, 3 or 4 miles just to get into town still. So,
All for Reese
all
Pieces.
for Reese Fees. So, we get into, we get up by what they call, IP, which is a box company, and they have this railroad track. We're like, "Well, we'll take a railroad track in town because it's or, it saves us probably, a mile or 2, and it's just easier to walk on." By that time, though, we're all just sitting there. It's like 3 or 4 in the morning. We're just arm in arm, holding on each other, keeping each other propped up. We're like, "Oh, man, we're never gonna make it out of this." And we'd only walked like 3 miles at that time. It wasn't even very long. And we still had to walk like another 8 miles just to get
Oh
home.
gosh.
So we get into town to pack a sack, and well, Chase finally got his Reese Pieces, and we're just dog tired. And we're only a few blocks from Chase's house. Like, we're maybe a half a mile from Chase's actual house, and it's Jesse's too. So, well, no, yeah. So they didn't live close. But anyways, Chase lived close, and so by this time the sunlight's coming up. All right, it's like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. Well, like when I said, when Darren went to sleep, his idiot self, he left the light on. And that's the only reason why we got caught, because someone leaves the light. My mom goes in there, it's like, "Why's the light on?" She goes in, sits there, no one's in there but Darren. Thanks, Darren. So then, so far, so we started at Pack Sack, and we ended up at Clark Station. Then I see a guy's dad that I knew. All right, his name was Brad. All right, and
Right.
Brad was a pretty nice guy. All right, and I was like, "Hey, Brad, can you give us a ride out to my house?" Blah 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 blah. And because it was me, Chase, and Jack, we didn't want to get caught. We didn't think my mom knew. Brad, being the stand-up guy that he is, apparently called my mother.
Uh-oh.
And I didn't know he had the number to get out there.
Busted.
Oh man, this was like time before like everyone had like yellow pages and everything. And next thing you know, we're just sitting at this gas station, and here comes my mom. We just see this, like, you see this F-150, and she's just barreling. She's like a 30-mile-an-hour zone. She's got to be doing like 900 mile an hour. She's just going down there. People are the sightings are coming off roofs of how fast she's going. Like, I'm not even lying. She
She's
broke the
not
sound
happy.
barrier. Was close to it, and she just pulls in there, and I'm just like, "Guys, whatever you do, don't get in." And he's like, "Well, what are we gonna do? Just run beside the truck?" And I'm like, "Okay, good point." But man, I never seen my mom so mad, and we went all the way 5 miles. Well, good thing is we only walked about 5.5 miles. We didn't make it all the way back. Obviously, my mom picked me up, and I had the pleasure of riding with her to go pick Darren up, and then go take him home, and all my other friends home. My friends elected to walk home, by the way. They're like, "Yeah, I'm not walking. I'm not getting in that vehicle."
And what
pretty
time in
hostile.
the morning was this?
It's like 6, 7. It's
Oh,
like the sun was not even barely
Yeah, I
out.
would be not a happy camper.
She was so happy. Like, I could just see the smile on her face.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Uh,
the things we did to
that was pretty stupid, but pretty fun.
unintentionally torture our parents.
Mhm. You know what? They're
and that's
better
not
for
that's
it.
just
They're
one story. I got
stronger
like
for it.
5 other ones. Like, you have
Mhm.
even no idea. I could go on like all day, but we'll not go there.
Well, we could definitely do a second childhood memories episode. I think we totally
True.
could
Sometime down the road, maybe.
sometime down the road.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anybody have any quick comments or anything?
Well, I guess one thing that kind of came across my mind was just like me and my brothers, we absolutely could not stand certain. I'm sure that you guys have like those certain family members you couldn't stand. Well,
No.
we had certain family members that we couldn't stand that would stay over at our house for like a week, and it would be like the longest week of our lives.
Are
and
they
we would just be
listening?
well, they probably don't know who they are, so I'm gonna obviously make sure that I don't even that I don't even allude to who they are. But
Well, let them
yeah,
know if you think it was you, it was you.
but this individual or individuals would, one thing that always irritated me as a kid is whenever like my parents were in the room with me and then their siblings would also try to discipline us.
Mm, mhm, mhm,
Um,
mhm.
not a fan of that. And so me and my brothers got so irritated where this particular person would uh you know, they would try to ground us or get us in trouble or something like that. Like whenever the parents were gone for work or something like that, it was like, oh great, now we're stuck at home with this person. Well, me and my brothers had enough of their crap, so we just climbed on the roof and uh hid from this person, and we could just hear them calling out for us and say like, if you guys don't come down here, you're gonna get in trouble, or something like that. And so we would just laugh. We would sit up on our roof and laugh because like we could we could hear we could hear them like walking around like trying to look for us and calling our names out. We're just like, we're not coming down. We're not coming down until mom and dad get home.
I'm defiant, and I'm going to remain defiant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're
Oh,
not
yeah.
my daddy.
Really, some of the best times of our lives. We didn't even know it then, did we?
No, no.
No, we
Those were the
didn't.
good old days.
They,
They
were
really
the good
were.
old days.
They
I
were.
used to go fishing a lot with my grandpa, and
Yeah.
like I thought for the longest time the person that made. You guys ever seen the movie Gone Fishing?
No.
Anyone ever seen the movie Gone Fishing?
Is that with John Candy?
No, that's with Danny Glover and Joe Pesci.
Okay, never mind.
No,
About
I've never heard of it.
what?
Yeah.
Oh my god, my life has just been shattered. Like this is one of the best movies ever made. And like, okay, so about the movie, all right? It's about two guys. Yeah, Joe Pesci and Danny Glover, you know, big black guy, white guy, they're best friends, and they grew up and they love fishing. All right. Now, just so we're clear, I thought for the longest time when I seen this movie that the person that made this movie 100% meant my grandpa and his friend Calvin because they were both white. And I mean, because back in the day, it's uncommon to have, you know, because 50s, 60s, my grandpa and Calvin had been friends since like the 50s or so. You know, they were longtime fishing buddies. Okay, so but it was also not uncommon for them to go fishing and everything goes wrong. Like Murphy's law is high effect. If it can happen, it will happen, and
Yes.
it did happen. Like it wasn't even Murphy's law; it was Tony's law. Like because that's my grandpa. Like and like it went wrong. Like I'm guarantee it. What happened was one day an executive was fishing, just you know, he's just sitting there minding his own business. Probably had this no big old rig, all right. And mind you, here comes my grandpa and Calvin, and they're just probably having everything going. Like their boat's on fire, it's sinking, and you know, in water on fire. Like everything can go wrong. Will and he just happened to come across these guys, and he made it a Hollywood movie. I am 100% convinced to this day that's going to be the first question I ask the Lord. Is like, was that movie made after my grandpa? And he's going to say, yes, sir, it was.
Yes.
Promise
Yes, it
him.
was.
But if you haven't watched the movie, you got to watch the movie. It's by far one of the best movies ever
What
made.
is it called?
Gone Fishing.
Gone Fishing. I will post the trailer. Hopefully, there's a trailer. I'll post that in the description.
Because I could have told hours worth of stories just about fishing trips, and it's all just with my grandpa. Because every time we went, something went wrong.
Murphy's Law.
No, yeah, no.
Doesn't fail.
Tony's. His name was Tony Murphy.
Tony
I like
Murphy.
Like it.
I don't got no more though, as far as that goes.
It's a good one.
All right. Well, if nobody has anything extra to add, this has been episode 5 of Milkhouse Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
See you
Thank
later.
you. See you guys later.
See ya.